sabay-sabay tungo sa isang mas maliwanag, mas maganda at mas mapayapang kinabukasan.
Kung mudaog ni silang tanan, safety na si Inday. Di na ma-impeach. Sa butuhan pa lang, ulamang naman ng Senado.
Yung pagpupulong sa Malacanang po, of course we understand that there are things that you probably would not be too free to talk about, but we'll try to push the envelope kahit paano. There's a lot of discussion about whether or not the president should be taken literally when he says no impeachment at this point. I'm wondering if that was discussed, if that was also a topic last night in Malacanang with, of course, the congressional leadership. Because, of course, ma'am, dalawa na naipapile na complaint. You're aware of that. So, everybody's watching and waiting. Ano po ang nakuhang signal ng Kongreso sa Malacanang?
Actually, what was the president's pronouncement to the media, to the public about no impeachment? Wala din namang nabanggit kagabi, no? As a matter of fact, politically, hindi significant yung naging what you call fellowship, except that we presented the resolution manifesting our support to the leadership of His Excellency President Bongbong Marcos. No? As a matter of fact, I do not intend to disclose really what happened last night kasi it's not political. It is just the usual visit to the President, and in time for Christmas, bumati po tayo, and some of us rendered a Christmas song, and then we presented the resolution that we are manifesting our support. No discussion at all about the impeachment. As a matter of fact, most of us were anticipating really that somehow the president will make some pronouncement or guidance perhaps as to the two impeachment complaints which are pending already in the House of Representatives. Yes, but apparently wala eh. Walang discussion at all. So
kung
yes,
walang utos sa Fellowship of the Ring na lumusob kay Sauron.
Wala pong discussion at all about the impeachment, no? So, with his silence last night, I think he is standing with his prior pronouncement that he does not support impeachment because it does not help even a single Filipino. That's my understanding, Sir Ronald.
Congresswoman, meron naman mga speculation. Bakit daw kinakailangan na mag-issue ng resolution of support sa Presidente ang Congress?
Yeah, we always do that from time to time, no? It's not only because there are challenges concerning the issues on impeachment, pero ako first termer kasi ako eh. But since I came in Congress, it has been the practice of the majority na i-renew, i-rekindle, i-remanifest yung aming suporta to the leadership of the President. So, I don't see anything unusual or special about the manifestation of support that happened last night. It is the same manifestation of support that we've been doing since we assumed office back in July of 2022.
Okay, ma'am. Sige, ma'am, that's fair. Sige, if there was no discussion at all there was no mention at all last night by the President of impeachment, well, let me put it this way na lang. What about you po with your colleagues outside of any discussion with Malacanang? Kamusta po ang pag-uusap ninyo ng inyong mga kasamahan sa Kongreso as far as the possibility of impeachment is concerned, especially in light of the President's earlier pronouncement na wag niyong pag-utuan ng pansin yan? Pabayaan ninyo?
Let us be reminded about the principle of separation of power.
Yes, ma'am.
we understand and we do recognize the prerogative of the president to maintain his position na ayaw niya ng impeachment. It distracts the Philippine nation. It does not help even a single Filipino here in our country, no? Kaya lang we have to acknowledge the fact na kung may trabaho ang ehekutibo, mayroon din pong trabaho ang Kongreso. In the same way na may trabaho din ang judiciary. Ito pong pag-take up ng at the very least 2 impeachment complaint which are already pending before us is a constitutional duty on the part of the Congress. Wala po yung option na hindi i-take up eh. The only option is to take up. And then when we take up, we can either approve or disapprove. That's my understanding, Ed. No? So, I believe na ganito rin po ang understanding ng ating mga colleagues, especially yung mga kasama ko sa Committee on Justice and even my chairman in the Quadcom. Kahapon po, I had the chance na makausap itong mga chairman ko sa Quadcom and we are raising questions. Ano na bang gagawin natin dito? But at the end of the day, isa lang yung conclusion namin lahat. We have a work to do and that is to take up the impeachment complaints. That is the constitutional duty. Whether we approve or we disapprove, that is a separate and a different matter which will happen first sa Committee on Justice and after which sa plenary. No?
Yes, ma'am.
I was reminded also the other day by my chairwoman in the Committee on Justice, the Honorable Congresswoman Juliet Ferrer, o JINKY, you need to be active again in the Committee on Justice. We have a work to do. Particularly referring, of course, to the impeachment complaints which are already pending before the House. Although, to this date or as of yesterday, I was in Congress, I have no word yet whether the same was included already in the order of business for our session this coming Monday or on the days to come. So, kung anong discussion with our colleagues, I think we share the same opinion. We have a work to do. This is a constitutional duty. And notwithstanding the fact that the President made his pronouncement already, we have to acknowledge the separation of power. That is the stand of the President. Pero pagdating sa Kongreso, we have a work to do. We cannot turn our back to our constitutional duty. And that is to accept and to take up the impeachment complaints.
Kong, meron na ba kayong indicative timeline, indicative plan? Kahit indicative lang, dun sa work to do. Halimbawa, paano i-consolidate yung 2 impeachment na na-file, kailan magsisimula sa Justice Committee, no, etc. Dahil hindi limited na lang yung inyong session days this December. No, parang ngayon Christmas parties na eh. At saka sabi mo nga, kung may ilang kongresista na kumanta sa Malacanang, baka later gusto na yung malaman sino yung mga kumanta at kung meron silang tono. No?
Some friends who are very good in singing. A couple of friends who really sing well, no? Ganun lang kasimple. About the timeline, Sir Ronald, no? Since I am a first-termer, I have not actually experienced pa how to be involved in this impeachment process, no? At least from the side of the Congress, no? But I understand na we have a period of 10 days.
10 days, ma'am.
To include these impeachment complaints in the order of business, no? And then after the same is included in the order of business, we have a period of 3 days to refer the impeachment complaints to the Committee on Justice. Once in the Committee on Justice, it has a period of 60 days to resolve. Meaning, after conducting hearings, we have to vote whether to approve or not to approve the impeachment complaints. Sir Ronald mentioned about the 2 impeachment complaints. How do we do about it? My understanding is we have to consolidate it. We have to review the grounds that were chosen by the complainants, used by the complainants. We have to see to it that the complaint are compliant with the form and substance, no? So pag sinabi natin form, may capacity ba itong complainant to file this complaint? Tapos verified ba ang complaint? Tama ba yung mga grounds na ginamit? That is my understanding. And about compliance with substance, the grounds must be substantiated by facts and evidence as alleged in the complaint. So, etong dalawang ito, once taken into consideration in the Committee on Justice, I believe that we have to consolidate these two impeachment complaints and we have to refer back one impeachment complaint only to the plenary, which will be due for approval by at least 1/3 of the members of the House of Representatives. And going back to the,
Congresswoman, minimum expectation lang kasi magpapasko na eh. By next week, ano kaya ang pwedeng maasahan ng mga tao? Minimum lang, what can happen? Kasi medyo marami ang articles of impeachment na yan that you are consolidating. Madagdagan pa ng second complaint. Siguro you already have an idea kung gaano kabilis sa pwedeng trabahuin ng committee. Mga before the Christmas break, ano kaya ang pwede naming asahan? The public.
Alam mo kasi, Ma'am Ami, no? We are a collegial body. I am just one of the several members of the Justice Committee. I'm just one of the several members of the 19th Congress of the Philippines. So I really cannot tell how many days will it take, except by referring to the number of days as provided in our rules. I acknowledge that there will be some other admin matters to be taken up while it is with the Office of the Section, until it is referred to the plenary, until it is referred to the Committee on Justice, and until it is referred back to the plenary, no, for endorsement to the Senate. But from my personal standpoint, no, kasi ang tinatanong ng marami, kaya pa ba? I wish to raise one legal issue, no. Ako po naniniwala na kung yung part ng Congress ang pag-uusapan, kaya pa before the 2025 election. Kasi after the Christmas break, we still have January, February, March, and April, no? And the committee is given 60 days to approve or disapprove the impeachment complaint that goes back to the plenary, no? Ang issue na lang is, suppose we refer it or we endorse it to the Senate before election. Pwede pa ba itong ituloy ng Senado after the 2025 election? I am anchoring this legal question on the fact na mayroon tayong 12 senador sitting in the Senate and their terms are not interrupted by the 2025 election. Kasi nag-start sila 2022. And apparently by 2025, there are sitting senators because their term will end in 2028 pa. So I ask my colleagues, has there been an impeachment process na na-interrupt ng election, nakatapos ang Kongreso before election, it was referred to the Senate, and then after election, tinuloy ng Senate? I asked some friends to check with the Philippine Constitution, with the rules and even the jurisprudence, and our existing laws and jurisprudence are all silent. In other words, this is an issue which is new and still debatable. So this is a legal question really that I wish to raise, considering that everybody is talking about kaya pa ba? So my answer is, if we're talking only about that portion of the Congress, I believe kaya pa. But the question is it legally possible really na after election, itutuloy ng Senate yung impeachment trial?
Baka
pala sa resolve.
Hindi lang legal practical. Kung hindi ka na senador, anong ginagawa mo ron? Diba?
Yeah, but Sir Ronald, we have to consider yung 12 hindi naman mid-termer. Kasabay na na-elect ng presidente back in 2022. Ibig sabihin, continuous yung term nila.
Yes.
hindi na-interrupt ang Senate, di ba?
Yes.
It's there in spite of the midterm elections. So, ano kaya ang magiging tamang pananaw considering na the Senate also has a work to do, nag-endorse ng Congress, are they still in the proper and legal position to continue with the impeachment trial notwithstanding the fact na nagkaroon ng prior 2025 midterm election? I do not have an answer yet.
Ma'am, that's an interesting
Because I believe-
that's an interesting legal conundrum
Kaya
kasi
po, crucial yung tanong namin kanina, yung indication ng timeline. Because halimbawa, yung kay Corona, na-file ng December, natapos ng December 12. So, time is also relative eh. Gaano kabilis magpoproseso yung Kongreso at saka Senado. Halimbawa, kung may indication ba na pwedeng magkaroon sa Kongreso ng bilyar framework, yung fast-track yung impeachment, nagbotohan kagad, may ganun bang indication? Dahil kung mabibilis yung impeachment sa House at aakyat sa Senate sa January, then feasible pa yon before the election, kahit uphill, no? Kaya yun, mahalaga yung yung indications ng time. At this point, no, mahalaga yung time, hindi lang yung legal process, yung panahon.
You are correct about that. We can take that route na diretso na sa approval ng plenary or while in the Committee on Justice, the impeachment complaint is able to solicit the support of 1/3 of the House members even prior to the conclusion of the Committee on Justice. Bibilis talaga yon. Diretso na sa Senate, no? Yung dinidiscuss ko po kanina, I am assuming the normal route na dadaan siya sa Committee on Justice at magkakaroon ng hearing for a period of 60 days at the very least, no? Although I understand the same is all likewise extendable just like in any other committees, no? But you're asking Sir Ronald about the indication. I lament that I don't see any indication. Actually, everybody is asking what's gonna happen with the impeachment trial. May instruction ba? May guidance ba? Pero wala talaga eh. Kaya the only reference that I can share with you is the same pronouncement that the President did in his public announcement during his press con na ayaw niya ng impeachment because it does not help the Philippine nation, no? Kaya lang, this is a constitutional duty and to this date, we have not convened yet really kung ano bang timeline, ano bang guidance mayroon ang House on how we're going to take up these two impeachment complaints. So the least we can do, at least for me as member of the Committee on Justice, is to make strict reference to what is provided under the Constitution and under the rules of the House of Representatives. Although you're very much correct, Sir Ronald, merong the third mode of filing an impeachment is when you file it by 1/3 of the House members, in which case you do not need an actual full-blown hearing before the Justice Committee and you can right away endorse it to the Senate, and that will actually save so much time. And if that happens, yes, I agree with you, kakayanin pa with a period of 3 months to conclude the impeachment trial by the Senate, no? Siguro,
Yes.
the remaining question na lang doon ay kung ito bang ating mga senador will still have time to sit as
or to campaign.
as judges of the impeachment court, considering that we also need to prepare for the 2025 election. I myself, I am a candidate also for Batangas 2nd District, and I'm struggling for my time for campaign because of the obligations that we have in the House of Representatives. But at the end of the day, I am inclined to believe constitutional duty to, congressman man o senador man, we should be ready to discharge our duty.
Ma'am, you raised an interesting legal conundrum kanina, yung what happens after the elections, whether or not itutuloy pa rin yung existing impeachment complaint. Well, the three of us, of course, we're not lawyers pero I think the three of us were working on the assumption na magre-reset lahat with the after the elections. Just like any bill na pag final mo tapos inabutan ka ng eleksyon, back to zero ka kung hindi natapos. So hindi pa pala resolvado yun. It's still up in the air. It's still up for legal discussion and legal resolution.
To be specific, Ed, no, Sir Ed, parang ang gusto kong maging question sana doon, will the disqualification for the next impeachment complaint apply? Considering na meron ng naunang impeachment complaint tapos hindi tinuloy ng Senate for purposes of trial.
Apo.
So that is one question. The second question is the Senate still in the legal position to continue with the impeachment trial considering na may 12 senators
have a new set of
whose
12.
terms were never interrupted by the 2025 election, no? I'm sharing this to you guys kasi gusto ko ring marinig yung insight, legal opinions ng napakarami nating legal luminaries here in the Philippines, no? I hope that in one of your programs, we will be able to hear from legal luminaries kung anong tamang appreciation dito. Or perhaps, makakamukha ng sinabi ng aking mga kaibigang judges and lawyers, this is something that need to be resolved by the Supreme Court yet.
Okay.
Ako, baka isa na kayo sa mga bagong ngayon bagong legal luminaries natin. Whether you
I
like
don't
it
think
or
so.
not.
I don't think so, Sir Ronald. Tayo po ay we are a low-profile Batangueña who was given this opportunity to join this squad team, and I am really grateful to my chairman for giving me the trust and the confidence to be one of the interpellators and members of the Quadcom.
Kami nga po
naging siya ng statement yung ano?
Natawag kami ni Atty. Torion na hindi learned.
Unlearned. Anyway, huwag ka na humugot dyan. Hugot ka pa dyan Kasi amin may tanong mo.
Congresswoman, nag-issue ng statement ang Iglesia ni Cristo supporting the text message of President Marcos na huwag nang pag-aksayahan daw ng panahon yung impeachment. You think the INC will have strong persuasive powers sa House? May influence kaya yun?
I have a high regard for Iglesia ni Cristo, no? Talagang admirable ang kanilang unity. They decide as one, no? They act as one. At ako po'y naniniwala dun sa sinasabi nilang they're not siding anyone. Hindi sila kumakampi sa administrasyon, hindi rin sila kumakampi sa mga Duterte. They're after the welfare of the Filipino people. Ang hinahanap po nila ay ang pagkakaisa instead of divisiveness, kasi hindi po nakakatulong itong mga divisiveness na ito pag ang pinag-usapan ay interest ng ating mga kapwa Pilipino. However, in the face of that high regard in favor of the INC, pabalik po ako dun sa sinabi ko kanina. We have a constitutional duty to take up these impeachment complaints. That is one thing. Whether we approve or we disapprove, that is another thing, no? Magkakaiba po tayo ng perspective. Ang Pangulo po, may kanyang perspective being the head of the executive. Tayo po sa Kongreso, may sarili kaming perspective, having this constitutional duty to take up these impeachment complaints. Ang Iglesia ni Cristo po, being a religious group, have their own perspective as well, na hindi po priority sa kanila itong mga political process na to, impeachment process na ito. Ang importante po sa kanila ay ang interest ng mamamayang Pilipino. Even the judiciary, they have their own perspective. So, I think what is important, we are honest to our duty to the Constitution, and we will just have to comply with our constitutional mandate. Ika nga, may kanya-kanya tayong trabaho. Let's just do good with our respective jobs. And at the end of the day, ang mahalaga, isa lang ang interest ng lahat. That is the best interest of the Filipino people.
Yan kasi kung ang problema sa ating bansa lahat ng mga nagbubunggo ang puwersa, dala nila yung interest ng bansa.
I agree. And we have different ways of how we appreciate and how we fight for the interest of this Filipino people. I just hope that we find the common ground, no? Kahit magkakaiba po tayo ng perspective, since we have one goal, sana along the way, we find one common ground para tuluyan po nating mapanatili at may paglaban ang interes ng ating mga kapwa Pilipino.
Pero kung pag-assassination ang usapan, baka mahirapan.
Even that pronouncement has different interpretations, di ba? Ang sabi ng ating Vice President, taken out of logical context, no? So, mahirap talaga na nagpro-pronounce ka publicly, no? Kasi subject to different interpretations, and even the author of the pronouncement has a different interpretation, no? While everybody believes that that is an attempt to assassin the President, the First Lady, and the House Speaker, iba pala yung konteksto ng author ng pronouncement, because she's claiming that the interpretation of the President is outside its logical context.
At saka may opinion yung ating legal luminary, si Senator Bato. Ang tawag niya dyan ay conditional threat. First time ko nakarinig nun kahit hindi ako learned, Pong, no? Kahit hindi ako learned, doon ako nakarinig ng conditional threat. Magaling.
Oh, siguro it's because of what do you call this? Different political alliances, because it also affects on how you appreciate things, no? Siguro pag sinabi mo yung pronouncement na yon, iba interpretation ng pro-administration, iba interpretation ng opposition. That's how I understand it, no? But at the end of the day, we are thinking individuals, and everybody was able to hear that pronouncement. I think what matters is kung ano ang naging understanding ng sambayan ng Pilipino. And I wish to believe na naging understanding ng mas nakararami is there is really a threat against the President, the First Lady, and the House Speaker.
Ma'am, kambi lang ako ng konti. Earlier this month, naglabas ang Commission on Audit ng what it calls an unmodified opinion dun sa 2023 spending ng OVP. Ang interpretation being it's an unqualified opinion na walang nahanap na irregularity for 2023 ang COA for the OVP. Now that opinion is being used by the OVPs, by the VP's supporters as supposed proof na walang irregularidad ang spending ng VP.
Sir Ed, we have to be very specific. Ano ba yung tinutukoy ng unmodified opinion na yon? Kasi during the time of hearing, I understand that there are standing audit observation memo pertaining to the 375 million confidential fund that were irregularly utilized by the Office of the Vice President. So, what really are they pertaining to with respect to that unmodified opinion? Alin yung hindi na bago? What is the original opinion that they are pertaining to when they are saying unmodified? Alin yung hindi na bagong opinion?
Well, the other thing I wanted to point out is is it correct to say na it's a different auditing unit that looks into confidential intelligence funds, yung ICFAO, Intelligence and Confidential Funds Auditing Unit.
You are correct, Sir Ed, no? Iba po ang nag-audit sa regular funds, iba po ang nag-audit doon sa Confidential Intelligence Fund, ICFAO, ang tawag doon sa nag-audit dito sa Intelligence and Confidential. And we have to make sure, alin ba ang tinutukoy ng unmodified opinion, kasi yung standing AOM as of the date of hearing dito sa OVP it pertains to the 175 million times 3 quarters, equivalent to 375 million of the 2023 confidential fund of the Office of the Vice President.
So it may be a different thing altogether. I mean, we may be looking at
Yes.
apples and oranges.
It could refer to a regular fund. It could refer to a portion of the confidential fund. We have to be specific. Alin po ba yung sinabi nyo na hindi nabago ang opinion nyo pertaining to the audit of the budget of the Office of the Vice President?
Okay.
Kung dumating na ba yung Christmas cards galing sa Malacanang?
Christmas cards? Wala pa po akong nabasang Christmas cards from Malacanang.
Baka nandun kasi baka kung nandun yung instructions.
I doubt if the president will ever give instructions kasi even myself, I was anticipating also that somehow after that pronouncement, we will be receiving instructions, especially for us squad members, no? Pero wala talaga eh. So, I think
Pero namin yata niya, nag-send siya ng text message.
yeah. That is the instruction I believe that the president issued na ayaw niya ng impeachment,
Yes.
no?
Yes.
Kaya lang we have a duty to do, no? So notwithstanding the opinion of the president, kailangan talaga i-take up ng Congress yung impeachment complaints.
Ma'am, ako last question na lang. Follow up dun sa tanong ni Ami earlier about yung Iglesia ni Cristo statement. Kasi it was not a simple statement per se. Kasama dun sa statement is the announcement that they are mobilizing their locals
Magrarally.
para mag-rally against impeachment. Of course, wala pang petsa at wala pang lugar. Pero I'm wondering, from your point of view, would that have an effect on congressmen? Kasi kahit paano, those are warm bodies that will go out into the streets. And we've seen that as late as 2015, nag-rally ang Iglesia ni Cristo sa EDSA, nagka-traffic dahil ang daming tao. So it does, nakakabulaga nga talaga yun. I don't know how that goes for people running for re-election in a few months.
Pero kahit walang
I-
traffic, kahit walang rally, may punong-puno ng traffic yung EDSA.
Sa bagay.
Sir Ed, I am actually inclined to believe that this rally will have significant effect for re-electionists, no? Kung anong magiging stand nila sa pagboto sa impeachment, whether a congressman running for re-election or a senator running for re-election, this is a thing that they have to consider as well. Considering the unity that the Iglesia ni Cristo has been demonstrating in all matters, including political concerns, no? So, ito ay
Real politic.
factor to be considered by all re-electionists.
It's reality.
So kung hindi masyadong factor din yung higher purpose sa mga re-electionists, mas yung arithmetic.
It will depend now really on the personal perspective na ng mga kanya-kanya na sigurong isip yan at analysis ng mga congressman. Depende kung alin ba ang mas priority mo. Is it your re-election or is it your personal belief on and conviction on the issue that is confronting pertaining to this impeachment complaints, no?
Okay. Okay na. Ami, Ronald, bitaw na si Congresswoman.
Okay na.
Maraming salamat po.
Ma'am, sorry.
Sana
Thank you, Congresswoman.
Nabiga ka namin ng isang buong
po.
episode.
Enjoy po ako sa inyong show and thank you really for having me here.
Para sa iba pang karagdagang mga balita at impormasyon, ay huwag po nating kalimutan ang mag-like, share at comment sa video na ito, at huwag po rin nating kalimutang mag-subscribe sa aming channel, to continue supporting our contents. Maraming salamat po sa inyong panonood, at naway tangkilikin po ninyo ang aming YouTube channel.